Welcome to the Copilot Café. In this session, we're going to be taking a look at Copilot in Microsoft Forms. I'm going to take you through building a form, how Copilot can help, how you can dictate those prompts, and then we're going to have a look at the results and see what charts are available, how you can look at Copilot in Excel to look at the survey data from those forms. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into office.com and I'm then going to go into the apps section here. And you can see all the apps I've got access to are shown here. So I'm going to click on Forms. And this just gives me a real quick view of what forms I've recently created, what's been shared with me, my favorites, some templates. And I can create a new form, a new quiz, or I can import data to actually create a form. Now I'm going to start with new form. And you can see here a couple of buttons. We're going to look at these ones later. First one is questions. So this is my little dashboard to start creating some questions. And then this is where my responses will appear as people submit those surveys. So this is where Copilot comes in to start off with. I've got the option here to draft with Copilot. So I can use a prompt, tell it what I want, and it's going to create that survey for me. It also gives me the option to have a look at some prompts that I might be interested in that could help me get started. So if I use this one for volunteer sign-up form, I can go in and I can just edit that. Another one here, town hall feedback survey. I mean, that probably gets used quite a lot. So I could go in and make some edits to that prompt. Whatever I use, you can see here, I've used 199 characters here. I've got the option to have a prompt of up to 2,000 characters. So I'm going to get rid of that. Now, I like to dictate my prompts. I find this a lot easier to do because Copilot is so conversational. Now, you'll see there isn't the microphone icon here. So I'm going to just dictate, using my favorite accessibility feature, what I want in my survey. Now, I've written some notes. I've just put them together just to remind me what I actually want to add into my survey. So I'm going to press Windows key plus H. I'm delivering a webinar for Copilot champions and I want to create a feedback form that asks the champions how satisfied they were with the content, whether it was relevant to them, could it have been better, would they like more sessions in the future, and whether since the session they've now got a better understanding of adoption and change management. I'd also like to give them the option to share any other comments they might have and to tick a box if they'd like a bit of follow-up. And if they do want follow-up, I would like them to then leave their email address. So just move my dictation box out the way in case I want to use it later. Now, I have got all the information that I just said, even with my strong accent, it picked that up pretty well. I could go in and edit and add to this if I wanted to, but I'm quite happy, so I'm just going to press generate. Just going to have a think about that and come up with some questions for me. Okay, so webinar feedback form for Copilot champions. So it's understood that that is what the form is all about. How satisfied were you with the content of the webinar? Was the content relevant to you? See, that's not the right kind of response I would like. I'll go back and have a look at that in a second. Could the content have been better? Would you like more sessions in future? Do you have a better understanding of change management after the session? Share any comments you might have. Would you like a follow-up? Yes, no. Okay. So there's some things in here I would like to change. So for instance, for question 2, I would like the response to be yes, no, or maybe. And for, what was the other question there? Question 5, I would like a yes, no, or maybe answer. Okay, so I'm going to ask it to go and just make those changes for me. Now, I could have just pressed generate and gone and made those changes myself, but actually, you know, I might as well get Copilot to do that now at this early stage. All right, so let's see what we've got now. How satisfied are you with the content? Was the content relevant for you? Yes, no, maybe. Okay, that's better. Could the content have been better? Would you like a bit of a follow-up? It's actually taken what I said. If yes, please provide your email address. All right, so for the minute, I'm going to say keep it. Now you can see here, I can look at the previous draft and now this newer version, but I'm going to press keep it because forms is fantastic. It's so easy to edit. I can just go in and make any edits I want anyway. So how satisfied? Yes, I'm happy. You'll see here as well, there are all these little Copilot icons that appear, and this is giving me the option to rewrite. So how satisfied were you with the content of the webinar? Okay, was the content relevant for you? I'm happy with that. I might want to reword this a little bit. So let's see if it gives me any better options. I'm going to select that, but I'm going to make some edits as well to it. So could the content have been enhanced? I'm going to change this one to say, how do you feel about the content presented? I'll be happy with that. I could add little images here and things like that if I wanted to. And I could say that that has to be required. Would you like to see more sessions in the future? Do you have a better understanding of adoption and change management after session? Share any comments you might have. You can see it's automatically picked here, the long answer here, which is great. Would you like a follow-up? And you see it's suggested that I might want to add maybe, which I will do. And if yes, please provide your email address. It's also give me the option to select a style here. Now you could select a style. You can actually add your own images as backgrounds as well. So I could pick a different style here. So if I wanted to pick that, it's offered some suggestions of what I might want to select. And then finally, one thing I might want to do is just double check with Copilot. Is there any other questions I could ask? So if I go insert with Copilot, you see I could add some more questions. I could say to Copilot, inspire me. So it's come up with a couple of things. How likely are you to recommend this webinar to a friend or colleague? Yeah, that sounds like a sensible answer. What topics would you like to see covered in future webinars? I'm not bothered about that one. So I'm going to keep that one. And I'm probably just going to move this about a little bit. Okay, right. So I'm pretty happy with my survey so far. I can now, it's suggested that I might want to preview it. So you can see how I've got, I can preview via desktop, see what that would look like. And I can also preview via mobile. So you get a good view of that. Now, when I want to send this out, I can say, I can go to collect responses here. Now, another area that Copilot helps us here is it gives us the option just to send a little nudge out to people to remind them to fill out the survey. So I'm just going to say here, anyone can respond. I'm going to do a little shortened URL. And I've got the option here to get Copilot to help me write a little note out to everybody that says, please do spend 2 minutes just filling out this survey. It'd be really helpful. And I can have that for Outlook and for a Teams message. And I can send it to different people, Teams groups, channels, etc. Now, there are a lot of other settings hidden under these three dots, so you can get other people to collaborate with you as well. But if you're familiar with forms, nothing's much changed here. It's mostly these more proactive options to help you with your creativity. So creating your form or creating that those messages that go out and ask people to fill in the form. So let's go and have a look now at what a form looks like once it's been completed. So if I go into one that I prepared earlier, I've got 11 responses to my form. Let's see where Copilot can help us here. So we have got the same reminder box. So if we still want to get more feedback, we've got Copilot on hand again to help us push out those reminders to people and get them filling in that survey form. But Forms was already amazing. It already used quite a lot of AI, and it brought together a lot of fantastic charts to help you analyze your responses. So here you can see it tells you you've got 11 responses, how long it took to complete, and then I can go in and I can actually pull down an Excel form of all that data. If I just give you a little view here of all the charts that it's already automatically created for me, they are pretty good. So I rate the quality of the webinar. I've got a lot of different responses there. How relevant was the content? So I can see that broken up by percentages. How did you find the webinar with regards to your setting your expectations? Would you like to see more sessions? So you get the idea. But each one of these has also got a insights box. So if I click over the insights box, it gives me a little bit more of a deep dive to actually, well, what does this mean? So you can see lots of different little insights that it's giving you. Also, that NPS question that it recommended that I ask in the form, you can see here, because I've got some passive responses, I've only got an NPS of 27, which is quite sad. But I got a lot of things that I probably need just to analyze that data. Now, if I want to do a deeper analysis, I can go and just click on the Excel here. And let's see how Copilot can help us. Now, the first thing that Copilot's going to help me with is it says there's some data inconsistencies with the formatting, and it's got some suggestions for me. So if I click on show suggestions, you can see here it says column J might have some inconsistencies. And you can see here that column J's got some commas and things like that. So you might want to replace them with one of these variations, and I've got tick there. I'm going to say, yeah, apply that. That makes absolute sense. Column K has some inconsistencies. You can see I should have probably had a yes, no question there. Instead, people have filled it in free text with yes or no, which means that it's not as easy to read the data. So I'm going to press no on that one. And you get the idea. So it's going to help me clean up some of this data. So I could say, I want to replace these words with these words so that all the no's are capital N and O and all the yeses are capital Y. So that all looks lovely. Now, what else could it help me with? Well, I could select the Copilot button here. And you'll see I've got a few options that I can use to help me with Excel, but one that I'm interested in most is this understand, analyze. So it says it can analyze the data and show insight charts. So it's giving me a bit more information of what it can do. It can help me answer these kind of questions. So it's given me some things that it would suggest I could go in and have a look at. I could ask it some questions in my data. I could ask it, do you see any trends in my data? It's come up with a trend here. Would you like more sessions in future? Yes. Is it aligned to how likely you to recommend this webinar to a friend or colleague? Now, it's come up with a button here that says add all insights to grid. So if I click this, it will take all the insights that it has and put it on a separate worksheet. And then you can go in and have a look at these in a little bit more detail, make some filters, make some changes to the chart. And this is just going to help you get a more granular view of the survey data that you've collected. Well, that's it for this session. I hope you find that useful. If you did find it useful and you want to see more like that, don't forget to press subscribe. Till next time.
Welcome to the Copilot Café. Join Jo for a 10-minute stay. Learn new tips every day with demos that light the way.